recording.
Now I see the sign of recording.
Okay, sorry, one second, I'll just get up. My mother has 2 cats, so I'm a little bit allergic.
I didn't know you were allergic.
Yeah, I am a little bit, not too much, but enough, as you can see. Okay. Let's see what happens now. So we're going live. You can see me, yeah? Can you see me?
I do. Hi, space.
I can't see you at the moment, not yet. Okay, let's add a title. Communication. It's a bit slow, isn't it? Communication at work. No, it's not it. No. Okay, ready?
Ready. I try not to be nervous like an interview.
The live's being set up, I think. Let's see what happens. It's really grey. It's raining now in England, actually.
That's not surprising from what I hear.
Yeah, it's typical English weather.
From England.
Yeah, no. Well, it was sunny this morning, but now it's grey and rainy, but it's still beautiful. Okay, it seems to be taking a while. Here we go. All right, but okay, we're live, guys. All right. So, hey Juan, soldier.
Hello. Hello.
Your connection
Nice
isn't
to be
great,
here.
dude. Okay. All right, I can hear you better now. So I call Juan soldier. It's a bit of a long story, which I won't tell right now. But I met Juan, how many years ago was it now, Juan? We're in 2020, so about 8 years ago. We worked together at a company called Formación Digital. And then we've coincided on various coaching and spiritual courses and paths. Randomly, we always seem to end up in the same place. And Juan he's completed the English 0020, 21 days course. And
that's right.
He's a senior software developer. Or do you prefer to be a software engineer? What do you prefer to be called, Juan?
I don't mind.
One of the
I
two.
think that software engineer is easier to understand.
Okay, and that's important because we're talking about communication. So senior software engineer, Juan Mendez, at 47 degrees.
That's right. That's the company I work on.
Yeah. And so the reason I decided to invite Juan today, apart from the path that we've, gone on together, is the fact that he uses English at work. He communicates frequently in English at work in these real situations that we're always talking about at Inglés 00. So I thought it would be really interesting to have a chat with him about, and after doing the Inglés 00 course and having these experiences regularly, what for him, or Juan, what for you, is most important when communicating at work? What are the most important things to bear in mind?
Well, I think the most important thing I would say is to have a conversation with ease, and with this I mean that sometimes when we don't use maybe verbal communication, for example, in my company we use a lot of tools, so through the computer, messaging tools, email, and so on. Sometimes we can misinterpret what the other person is feeling, or maybe we hold back some information. So it's very important to be to be open, and whenever you have a chance, I think it is very cool to have video conference, um, just to create that ease in the communication. Whenever we put more media into the communication, the better, especially in this area and in those times that we are living.
Yeah, it's very agile, isn't it? Having frequent face-to-face conversations versus going to the easy resource of typing to someone on Messenger or sending a message or the phone or whatever. Yeah.
Yes, sometimes it's useful, especially at my work, that people are from all over the world. We
Yeah.
live in different time zones,
Yeah.
so it is not always possible to have a live conversation. So one have to balance that, thinking in a way that you don't make other people lose their time, so you focus on that. But
Yeah.
other times, it is good to have a time to chat. At the end, we are all people
You're
with
not working with
feelings,
animals.
or computers only. We are not robots.
Yeah.
And it is good to see people face to face to create rapport, and create ease in the communication, as I said before.
Yeah. Yeah. So this report thing is very fashionable term. I'm just a bit, because the image and the sound isn't going at the same time, so it's quite strange talking about communication. I can see your mouth moving now, and you stopped talking a couple of minutes ago. This report is very sort of fashionable. What does it actually mean to you? Like, what is report, and why is it so important in communication at work?
Well, for me, it can mean that during the communication, when it is only written, it is easy to maybe uh, create misunderstandings. Maybe you need something fast, and you don't know what the other people is doing, what the other person is doing. Maybe you can get upset, for example, because you are expecting something to be done, and you don't know what the other person is doing. So I think it's very important to to feel what are the other, to put the shoes of the other people, if you know what I mean. Because in our mind we can create a story about what is happening for the other person, and maybe we can get upset for something that we just came
Yeah.
in our mind. So that's why for me it's very important to create that rapport, and that rapport means having a way to empathize with the other person. And for me that's very important to have that non-verbal communication, mean the gestures, what we see with the eyes, and what we can feel from the other people.
And how do you know if you've empathized with someone?
Well, whenever I leave the tax aside, um, I can see the understand what the other people is feeling. I think that is very important. It is not only the results that are very important, but at the end, the results come when people are comfortable with each other.
Yeah.
For that, we need to understand and feel what the other are feeling in the moment.
Yeah. So
So
the
leave
feeling.
the tax aside
Yeah.
and have an understanding what the other is feeling.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hearing two different things there, because one of them is feeling comfortable with someone. You might feel comfortable with someone, but not know exactly what they're feeling. And another one is a sort of a deeper level where you're actually really connected to the other person. And I guess they're related. And it's something that we talk about a lot in English, cero cero, because when people are communicating in English, they forget the importance of this, of connection, and being connected to people at work in order to achieve results. And they stay on the level of just trying to kind of survive in an English conversation. What do you think about that? Because I imagine you've had both experiences. Well, I know you've had both experiences.
Well, right now I am making the connection between what people feel talking in a second language, English in this case, and communicating at work. Sometimes we speak with people at different level in the hierarchy of the work. We have manager, bosses, maybe we have people that we have to manage. Everyone have different expectations. We have in our mind created what they are expecting from us, and sometimes we can create some pressure.
Yeah.
Thinking what. So that can happen at work and can happen when we are too worried about how we are being perceived when we are speaking in a second language. So both issues are related. Well, we just have to relax and then trying to understand what the other people is expecting. Really, that means really listening, leaving aside what we are thinking in the moment. And once that we have listened, and that means perceiving, trying to understand the feelings, then we can come up with a response. And for giving a proper response, we have to have listened first, then focus on the issue at hand, not or paranoia.
Yeah, so you say there's a twofold paranoia, the twofold being paranoid about something, which is firstly, how am I being perceived? And if we're talking about the English language, it's how is my level being perceived, right? How am I being perceived as an English speaker? Am I good enough for my job? And then the other level is what is expected of me from my boss, and am I fulfilling those expectations? And putting the sort of twofold pressure that you're putting on yourself. Is that what you mean?
For people that are in my case, maybe is that just twofold.
Could you give, sorry to interrupt you, Juan, but could you give a specific example so that when people watch, they can understand?
Well, for example, I work for many clients. And I said before, the clients many times are not from Spain, where I am based. They can be from other countries. It can be United Kingdom, Germany, United States. Well, in those meetings, we have regular meetings. In that meetings, we have to explain what we have been doing, if we have had any problem, how to solve them, how can solve problems for another. Everyone have a moment to speak about that. If I can put pressure on myself if I am too worried about expectations of others and I am not really listening of what they are really expecting at the moment. That is what I mean. If I put the pressure on myself, I may lose important information that they are sharing at the moment. That could happen maybe at the beginning of each project. That can happen. It is the same as in the same way that when we have an interview, we can get nervous. But as the time progresses, it is important to develop this habit of really listening and create rapport with our colleagues.
So would you say then that really listening and creating rapport is the most important part of communication in any language?
I would say that. Yeah.
So it's not the level that Cambridge gives you in your exam, in your English exam.
Not at all. I have seen every kind of people with different languages. Some people can have the worst vocabulary or really hard to understand accents, but not only accents, maybe even grammar errors.
Yeah.
But the personality makes them be understood by everyone. So I only part of the communication. It is only a part.
Yeah.
And again, practice makes us improve. So
yeah, and especially as we talk a lot about in English, pero it's a part that most, specifically in the case of Spanish people, have been focusing on pretty much for toda la vida, for their whole lives. And
that's true, yeah.
At the end of the day, as you say, when you're in this real situation in your meetings, when you've got people from different countries, different accents, different personalities, different ways of expressing themselves, and a common objective, the important thing as you're expressing it, because everyone has different ways of expressing it, is the words you're using are listening and rapport. So then what for you, Juan, is the key to truly listening and to feeling rapport or creating rapport, depending on how you look at it, with your colleagues?
I think it takes a mental shift to understand that not only the task at hand is important, it is important to know we are working on a team. We are not alone doing things, and if we are in a team, we are for a long term. It is a common effort. For doing that, it is very important to have a good atmosphere in the team, and for that is what I believe the report that you mentioned, and every opportunity to have a meeting, it is very important. I don't mean that we have to have meetings every hour. It is we have to achieve a balance of finishing tasks and understanding each other.
Yeah. Yeah, so working in a team and creating going back to the environment where you're feeling comfortable.
Yep, I just remembered another bit that I wanted to say.
Yeah.
That we have to balance the importance of the task and knowing that for the long term we work as a team. So it is important to leave the task for a moment, and if we need just to concentrate on the other person, that's a benefit for the long term.
Yeah. And what about your own personal journey? Because obviously as part of a team, the feeling comfortable is everybody's individual feeling. So while you can sort of perceive a good atmosphere and a good connection, you're always experiencing it individually. So how has your journey been related to when you felt less comfortable with English and when you felt more comfortable? When I say English, I say communicating in a team at work in English, which is what we're talking about, which is what interests us. Because just studying for the sake of, as we've mentioned before, having knowledge of grammar, etc., is not what we're interested in. So what's your personal journey been?
Do you mean in the whole history since I started learning English?
As you would like to share. whatever you'd like to share related to that.
I think that I started, as many people in Spain, as you said, studying in the school, then high school, then at the university. I started going to some private schools, and I stayed there in that private school for years. But at the end, I remember that what gave me the more confidence. We had one-on-one conversations on that school, and that's when I got comfortable. I noticed that I could have conversations, speaking relaxed about everything.
Yeah.
And after that, it just I have always had the feeling that, as you mentioned, many people in Spain may have, that I have to continue studying. Maybe studying for the C1 level English exam and things like that. But at the end, I just got more comfortable the more I use it. It just happened.
as it does, because we're natural learners and natural communicators. So it does.
Yeah. I don't speak the same as 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Or when you were 5 years old.
I have not specifically been learning. I just been interacting with other people in English. So it just came naturally.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. And what did
20 days course?
Yeah. Go on.
Yes, you shared on the videos some things that made me aware of some things that maybe we know very deep, and we are not aware in our day-to-day life. And I have shared some bits here in the previous questions.
So what would you say was your key lessons from when you did the Inglés 0021 days course that has had an impact on your communication at work?
I would say it would be less self-aware in the meaning of what are the other people thinking about me, and just go into the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember you shared a lot about groups, that because you gave the example before about how you got comfortable speaking one-to-one. And I think that happens a lot as well, that people in Spain get used, or anywhere, get used to having one-to-one classes, and that feels comfortable. And then you get out into a real group situation, and suddenly you're like, I've had this experience when I was speaking Spanish, that you end up not saying as much as you would say normally, or you just don't kind of show yourself as much as you are. You don't express yourself because it's like a group and there's people looking at you, and whatever you're telling yourself about the group in that particular moment. And that was one of the shifts I think you shared during the course related to groups. Was
yes,
that?
I think I remember that. Specifically, what I remember is that my interactions at the beginning, I was thinking it was related to speaking in English in a social situation, maybe in a pub with several friends. I remember maybe taking a step back and just listening and not participating so much. And you asked, have you observed yourself if you do the same in Spanish? Yeah, I think I do. I don't usually go to the front, especially in the first moments, and unless I am getting more confident more freely. So it is not a matter of the language.
Yeah.
It's a matter of confidence in yourself.
Yeah. And what for you is the key to feeling confident in yourself?
I would say just try to have fun.
Yeah.
Uh, you can have fun at work. Just speaking after you have finished sharing. You can have a better communication after sharing a joke, and the same in a social gathering, like a pub. Try to
Yeah.
have fun. People always try to understand each other.
Yeah.
When I have been with Americans, they do their best with me, as we do when they visit us.
Yeah, we get very serious sometimes, don't we? And especially in that situation you were saying, in a group situation, if you're not participating as much, and then you start saying to yourself, oh, why am I not participating? And this means I'm not confident, but I thought I was confident. And then you start having an inner conversation with yourself. And we make it more important and more serious than it is, in the same way with the boss. Oh, he expects this of me, and this is really important. And I talked about this in the live with Peter. It's that importance that takes away all the fun. And when there's no fun, we don't feel comfortable. And when we don't feel comfortable, we don't express ourselves as we are. Just like when we were children, and you just express yourself freely without all these sort of barriers that we put up, all these filters that we put up to our community. And when it's a second language with English, the filters are even more, because it's the words, it's the grammar, it's the vocabulary, it's my level, it's this, that, and the other. And that definitely takes away
Yes,
all of the fun.
The fun and the authenticity.
Yeah.
Just we try to maybe impress others, and we think that that takes that as achieve being serious, but I don't think that's the solution at the end.
Yeah.
Just be yourself and try to do your best as a person.
Yeah.
And everything will be all right.
The words of wisdom from Juan Mendez. And I would say that applies to everything.
Yeah, it seems like that.
Yeah. Well, I think that would be an excellent way to finish our live with those words, because we only wanted to do a brief live today. And just out of interest, last question, how about the accents? Because you said that you have many different accents in your workplace. What for you is the most difficult accent to understand?
Oh, that has been changing, especially if I haven't heard the accent before.
Yeah.
That accent can be very difficult for me. For example, at the beginning, people from India had a terrible accent, but whenever I worked more alongside them, I got more comfortable and I understand. It just takes practice to hear them. For now, maybe the only accent that now is difficult for me, because I have had very little interaction, maybe it's Scottish, I would say right now. But probably there are more, but that's the only one that comes to my mind right now.
Is this ironic because you love Scotland?
Yeah, I just because I like that movie, Spanish Los Inmortales, the Highlander.
Yeah. You're always talking about doing your trips to Scotland, and you don't do your trips to Scotland. So you know what you need to do. You need to go to Scotland to get used to the accent.
Yes, I went there and survived.
What did you say?
I survived. I mean, I could speak with people.
Yeah. And I love that example that you've just given about the accents, because the same applies. You just get used to an accent. It's like when you listen to a new song or something, and it's like a musical instrument. You get used to playing it, and there is no difficult accent. It's just that you're not used to it. And the nature of communication in a workplace these days is that you will be speaking to people from all over the world. So this idea of having classes with a very British teacher like myself and learning English just like that is just not real, because the reality is people speaking from different countries with their own accents, with their own way of using the grammar, that's not always going to be 100% correct. And I often use the example of German people, that their grammar isn't usually 100% accurate, but they're really confident, and they just speak, they communicate. And yeah, that's basically.
That's why I appreciate what you do. Maybe some people in Spain will get some confidence instilled.
Yeah, well, as we saw on the course, on the English 21 days course, the confidence is natural in us. It's just everything that we're making up about everything that stops it from being natural. About ourselves, about the language, about other people, etc., etc. As I spoke about in the live with Pete, if you guys haven't watched that yet, the previous live, then check that one out. And Juan and I will hook up again soon. Juan has he's created an online platform, universidadquantum.es, where he's offering online courses, all sorts of different online courses in the times that he started this a long time ago, but he's now picked up the project again. And one of the courses that he's going to be offering is the English Practice Network, which is our membership system. And we're going to be having audiovisual material on Juan's quantum platform that people will have access to. So yay for Juan, yay for Soldier, as I call him. And I will tell that story one day when I remember it. Can you remember why I call you Soldier, Juan?
Yeah, I think we were speaking about you being the Queen of England or something like that. I don't remember the joke in details.
Yeah.
But you say something about Soldier of England or something like that. Probably okay. You remember better.
I'll have to go back and delve back into the dark corners of my mind. Well, Soldier of England, thank you very much for the conversation. It's been fun and enlightening for the people listening, people who are going to listen, for the English 00 community. And I will catch up with you again soon.
Happy to share this time with you.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Bye. You are still live.
I know. I can't remember how to finish these lives.
That's a good time. I have an English cap.
Okay, if I stop here, hang on a sec. Now.